Oh, hello again.
Hello and good
Welcome
afternoon.
back. Welcome back to Art Jam. We're here.
It's Wednesday,
It's Wednesday at our new time, 4 p.m.
4 p.m. LA time anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's
Uh,
good. I think,
yeah.
you know, makes it easier to not have it kind of in the middle of the afternoon,
Yeah, absolutely.
at
Let's
least
turn my.
for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now it's only 2 hours, which I think also should be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll be nice and makes it less of a commitment to watch, which is nice. So if you want to watch more of them as well, it'll only be a couple
Yeah,
hours long.
yeah, I think that's, change is good.
Yeah. What are you going to be working on today, sir?
I'm going to keep working on this environment. So I've got it
Cool.
in Unreal. So now I still have a few things to work on. But it's the thing I kind of started a while ago and then kind of stopped working on for a while. But I figured over the weekend I'd play with it some more. So,
Nice.
so yeah, I've got a few things that still need to be sculpted in ZBrush and that still need to be textured in Mixer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
So,
like that fire though. It's in Unreal.
yeah, I mean, that's right now just sort of like the stock, you know, fire,
Well, it looks nice.
but it does look cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got all these things textured in Mixer and still need to resolve what the sky is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then this will be a river going down, so I'll have to do water. And then I still
Let's
have
do
this big
this.
structure behind us that I need to model.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be like some big tower thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this will all be water, so this will be a pool. This is like a temp texture.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are all things that haven't been textured yet, which is why they're white. And I haven't sculpted the ground yet, which is why it looks
Oh,
like
I
that.
thought it was going to be snow for a half second.
Oh no, no, no. No, it needs to be sculpted. It'll be rocky.
Cool.
So, but I just broke it up into different pieces just for poly count reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to sculpt it, and I'm still not using Unreal 5 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Then
Four.
yeah,
Four's still good.
so that's kind of what I'm doing. And for some reason, when I switch between my camera, like my Cine camera, and then like the
Mm-hmm.
regular camera, my uh, post process node starts getting like over
Like
like
overridden.
overcompensating on exposure.
Interesting.
So I have to like go back to auto exposure when I switch like the regular camera,
Hmm.
which is what I kind of mostly use.
Mm-hmm.
You can see I still have some areas back there I need to fill in on the back right and back left.
It's looking nice though.
But yeah, it's cool. I can run around with my little dude.
Oh yeah. It's all
Cool.
collision.
But I've only the collision for this one's working because I'm just using like the actual polys.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't done the collisions for the other stuff because that's going to need to be it's Unreal's so weird and like the default collisions it makes.
Oh yeah. You're
'Cause it
just
does it kind of
running.
more based on bounding box.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. Like
Yeah. Absolutely.
so yeah,
That's
so it's
awesome.
kind of been fun to make a new environment. So it's
Yeah.
got the weather. I don't have my sound going to you, but I've got the weather in here. So when I
Okay.
first play with my character, like it just starts sounding like rain or wind
Yeah.
or
Is it
something
windy?
super
That's funny.
windy. But yeah, what about you?
Nice. I'm going to work on the sculpt that I worked on stream several streams ago, but I'm going to get it into Keyshot today and do some renders and paint overs. So just kind of try to make a sort of like a design illustration or something out of this thing. So I'll probably spend 15 20 minutes just kind of cleaning it up, and then I'll jump into Keyshot, and we'll go pretty quick. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that guy's really cool.
yeah, it's been a fun one. All right, let's get in this view. Looks like we're set up right. Perfect.
Yeah, cool.
Is this the one that we want? Yeah, that'll do. We'll get moving. Let's see. Alex F1 is here. Hello. None of it is here. Hello. Welcome. Let's see. Uh, the atmosphere
Candy
is very
Rain.
cool.
Are we excited to be back on campus in 5 days?
Ooh,
Jesus Christ, yes. Oh my God. Oh my
absolutely.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll actually be on campus Friday for orientation.
Mm-hmm.
Be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back and see everybody.
And then Tuesday, get ready for burgers.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, I'll be teaching Monday and Tuesday, so it'll be nice to be in person teaching a class. It's been almost 2 years,
So
which is
weird.
crazy to think about.
So the overview class got split into 2 sections?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll be teaching in the stage.
Are they changing anything about the stage, or do you think it's just going to be the same setup with the tables?
I think it's just be the same. Is the music really loud to you, or is it just loud to me? Or loud to chat?
It's not loud to me.
Cool. I feel like what you hear versus what I hear is always slightly different as far as the volume, so I don't mind it being more loud on my side. I just don't want it to blow out everybody else's eardrums. Alex F1 is asking, have you set light mass volumes in your level?
Yes. I had just selected mine, although I added it a while ago, so I probably need to scale it just to be covering the entrance to the scene. So thank you for reminding me, Alex. Scale it up a little bit. Right, what am I gonna do? Texture or sculpt? Decide if I feel like texturing something or sculpting something.
I think I'm just going to start rendering this since this is our new format, so we only have 2 hours instead of 3. I got to move quicker. All right, I'm going to put it into Keyshot. I already got Keyshot open, which is good. Use the bridge.
I'm sculpting this piece. So even though I got my video muted last night, it was still pretty nice to stream just listening to my regular music.
I know, that's the one thing I'm like, how could we find a way to get different non-royalty free music and have like them uploaded afterwards so people could watch them but not have it be muted?
Yeah, I think it's problematic. I think like Twitch has a solution, but then that's just for Twitch. Yeah. So that's not necessarily going to work for Facebook or YouTube. Yeah. Have you played much with Marmoset?
Yeah, I like Marmoset a lot. It's just it doesn't have as good a drag and drop stuff, so it's kind of more like a combination of like Keyshot, where like it's basically a standalone viewer, but you don't have all of the fancy materials and stuff that you can use to drag in and all that. So it's cool. I really dig it, but it's not. I don't feel like it can be used in quite the same way. If like I was coming in with like textures and like knew what I wanted stuff to be with, it would actually be really good with that.
Have you played any more yet with 5? As far as
no, I had started playing with it before, but I'm just not sure about like the whole. It's just in beta. Like obviously you could play around with it. I do want to play around with it more, and I know that's where my next big project will end up being. Yeah. Just want to explore some other stuff first, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of, I've just historically always kind of like played with beta software more for like an experiment for an evening or 2 days or
Mm-hmm.
just try it out. But I'm going to work on something like over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I still would rather not use beta software. So even though every time I see something else posted on YouTube that's made in Unreal 5, I get jealous. I'm like, maybe I
That looks
should
cool.
bite the
Yeah.
bullet. But soon.
Mm-hmm. You said you started watching Ted Lasso.
I
It,
did.
it took you a
Yeah,
little while to get over his personality.
yeah, for sure. The first few episodes, I was kind of like, nope, not for me, because I'm not into sports at all.
Yeah.
Never have been. So I was like, oh, okay, if this is a sports show, like whether it's like Friday Night Lights or whatever, like I've
Mm-hmm.
just never been. I was raised to be into them. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I played them. That's a funny thing. Like I played them a lot in high
Mm-hmm.
school, but just anyway. So, but once I realized the show isn't necessarily about that, and the casting's so good, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I thought he was just going to be this like unrealistic, optimistic character. So once he started to become a little bit more normal,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, all right. So yeah,
I
so
can
now we're on
handle this.
episode 8. So, but it's nice that they're short. So we're just like
Yeah.
doing like one with lunch, one with dinner, and they're only half an
Mm-hmm.
hour.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Poland.
Hello. Hello from Poland. Wow. Hello. What time is it in Poland? It's got to be pretty early or late,
Early,
depending on the way you look
probably
at it.
like it's probably midnight now.
Yeah. Like 9 hours? So it'd be 1 a.m., 2 a.m.?
Kim saying we should talk to Anton for sure. Definitely have talked to
Yeah.
Anton a lot about Unreal. But I think pretty soon. I think it's once they get to like the next release.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still. I just know it's going to be like a lot of experimenting with different workflows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious still, but.
One 15. Yeah, it's pretty early.
So Poland, of course, obvious is. Have you been to CD Project Red? Had a tour, and is it cool if you have? I still need to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I played it for a little bit, but I just got sucked into other things. But I liked it when I was playing it.
Yeah, Griffin and I played for maybe like got like 3 hours in,
Mm-hmm.
but then I started playing Diablo.
You still playing?
I haven't played Diablo for like a week. There's too much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Old and Only just mentioned applying for an internship position at CD Product Red.
Mm.
Well, that's cool though. So, I mean, an internship, if that's something that you can get, would be awesome. I got an internship when I went to art school at Activision,
Hmm.
and that was really, really cool. It was on Zork Nemesis.
Zork Nemesis.
Yeah, because Zork was like these text-based games back in the '80s, and
Yeah, I
then
was gonna say.
they started making like CD-ROM games in
Okay.
the '90s, because this was like the mid '90s that I had that internship,
Hmm.
and but it was awesome. Even though I was an intern, I was still like doing stuff for the game,
Hmm.
so I was basically just like free labor, which I didn't care. I was awesome. Like I got to do a
You're
lot of
into it, yeah.
illustration. So like there was some, I don't remember the story, but there was some book that like a character flips through and there needed to be illustrations in the book. So I got to do some of those,
Hmm.
which I thought was awesome.
That's cool.
And then I got to do some like power animator stuff like previs with the director, because there was going to be a live action shoot, of course, because it was, a
Hmm.
CD-ROM game.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically I had to like previs and alias like camera choices and like set blocking for where actors would be,
Hmm.
like, but like side by side with the director. It was pretty
That's really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was just like a summer internship. So, did you ever do internships?
No, I never did an internship. Oh,
Yeah, we don't really do a lot of those at Gnomon, just because students are so busy at the end of the program. We don't really want them distracted by an internship. It's
hmm.
better to focus on your real.
Yeah, focus on your portfolio.
Yeah. But I didn't get my internship at Activision when I was in school through school. I got it on my own, actually, through a family friend.
Hmm.
So I got super lucky. Old and only. Well, just keep working on your portfolio, obviously. I mean, it's the obvious thing to say, but it is the
Yeah.
thing to do. That's awesome, Kim. Yeah, I mean, it's like jobs are great, but every time we've seen students try to have jobs going through Gnomon, it's really
Hmm.
stressful. And so,
Hmm.
like, I understand the logic behind it, but I think there's a perception maybe from what it's like at other schools, especially like liberal arts schools that don't give you as much homework as Gnomon does, that it's, where it's maybe easier to have a job while, in a liberal arts program somewhere like studying English, where it's maybe more like normal homework load. I'm generalizing, which I shouldn't do, but Gnomon is just like so intense. So it's really hard to do the job thing at the same time.
Hmm. It's really difficult.
But people have done it. It's not impossible. Just realized that we're probably at the point of the year that we should just be playing Halloween music.
Ooh, yes. you're,
Because
you're
that's
you're
happening.
talking about a change of music. Hang on. Let's see if we can get
Maybe it's not
royalty
D and
free.
D anymore. Maybe now it's chains and
Royal,
screams and howls.
royalty free Halloween. I found one. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. Soundscapes and dark ambient music.
It sounds promising.
Time managed by trial by fire. Yeah, absolutely. entirely know what that sounds like right now. I think that's a heart.
I don't really hear
You
anything.
don't hear anything?
Very subtle.
I'm gonna turn it up.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. That
I
was
don't
a
think
little bit
that's what
more.
we wanted.
That was a
That one
little
was a
too
no.
sci-fi.
This says it's from something. I don't think this is royalty free. I think this is wrong. Halloween background music. Nope. I mean, I can get us in the cyberpunk one or synthwave. Otherwise, I think we're in this weird, just ambient droning.
I mean, ultimately, I'm up for whatever. I wonder if trick-or-treating is going to be a thing this year.
I hope so. Yeah, that was from Black Ops. Cam, you caught it right away. Uh, Definitely not royalty free.
Yeah, it's like, are we going to do the be in LA for Halloween and have people
Mm-hmm.
over and have trick-or-treaters, or are we going to hide in the desert again? It was weird last year. Like, we didn't even put any decorations out.
Yeah, your house always has so much stuff.
Have you watched the Neil Blomkamp shorts that popped up on Netflix a week ago?
No, not recently.
Yeah, they're. I guess they were. 'Cause I haven't seen them. I guess they were on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
uh, posted by Oat Studio, which I guess is Neil Blomkamp's.
Okay.
Just a bunch of shorts, because like he kind of got started with shorts on YouTube before District
Mm-hmm.
9. So if you go on Netflix, you'll see something that just says Oat Studio, and it's a collection of shorts. The first one has Sigourney Weaver in it,
Oh, weird.
and they're all seem to be, sci-fi inspired. I only watched the first one. It was pretty cool. Definitely had sort of like a District 9 vibe to it,
Mm-hmm.
but as opposed to the aliens being persecuted, it's the humans being persecuted.
Hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, it was cool. Sometimes people make it hard to know how to pronounce their handles. A tick Jane?
I think that's a teak.
A teak?
I think so.
Okay, that makes more sense. Hello, and welcome to the party.
You just made it. I mean, you got plenty of time. All right, we'll take off some of these gold pieces.
Definitely not the same vibe as scary Halloween music.
I couldn't find it. It's either that or what was the other one? The one's way more aggressive though. Cyberpunk.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I guess we just kind of need to pre-research channels.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, we for the Gnomon workshop, Danny likes using like different music for all the trailers, for all the titles. So I think almost every trailer has a different song, but they're all like licensed, stuff from, these different services that we use. And, Discover Weekly on Spotify. Last week I was listening to Discover Weekly. We discover a lot of cool stuff that way. And then the song started playing and I was just like, I've heard this before. Where have I heard this before? And then I was just like, oh shit, it's from a Gnomon workshop trailer.
That's funny.
Which is funny that would pop up on like a Discover Weekly playlist because that track, if Danny used it, is probably from one of those like, sites where you can license music, not the kind of thing you'd expect to pop up on
Discover Weekly.
Something that's like from labels. Anyway. All right. I don't know about this music.
All right. You want to go back to the Twitch friendly fantasy one?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Somebody says, Box of Chocolates asks, why not get a scan of a rock?
Because then you didn't design it. I've done a lot of stuff with scans of rocks and scans of rocks that I've made. And I've done a lot of photogrammetry. But sometimes things need to be art directed. And sometimes it's fun to do it yourself. It doesn't take that long, so I think that I've probably, if this is like 15, 20 minutes or whatever, then it's pretty much done. So it goes pretty fast. So all of these pieces that are here, like something like this or this, same thing, like this is probably like 15 minutes. And then that way I get the exact shapes that I want.
Yeah.
Because if you only rely on scans, you're just going to be limited to the shapes that are available. Even though mega scans like Bridge, there are a ton of rocks in there. But again, I'm not going to find one that's necessarily going to have like the purpose that I need, because like this one is the base of like a tower. The tower is hidden right now, but if I get the tower, this is just a block in for that. Where'd that go? But I needed it to sit with that, what's going to be a tower in a certain way. But anyway, that's why.
Justin Frias asks, are they using Unreal? Not currently. I'm using Keyshot right now, and Alex is using Unreal for his project, but he's working in ZBrush right now to sculpt some of the assets.
Yeah. But like I'm done with this rock now, so I will end up taking this over to Unreal. So this is the project where this stuff is going. For those of you who came a little later. And so the rock that I was just sculpting in ZBrush is this dude right here. And so this is just the stand-in that I just made in Maya, and then gets positioned, and then it'll get swapped out. And then needs to be textured. So like every rock, everything that's in here is sculpted in ZBrush. So like there's no scanned rocks in here. But all the textures are from, I textured everything in Mixer, and the Mixer library is based on photogrammetry. So in a way, it's like a hybrid. And so for me to make this environment look exactly the way I wanted it to, I just thought it would be fun to sculpt it. And by using alphas, I'm able to sculpt these things fairly fast. So trying not to spend more than like 15 minutes each. So it adds up because there's, you know, a bunch of them. But I find it fairly relaxing to do. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I'm going to get this dude out of ZBrush and over to Unreal.
Nice. I think I'm close to setting up my scene and doing a render or two and then kicking it off. So, what GPU do you have to run Unreal so smoothly?
This computer has a 2080 Ti.
I think I'm similar.
I think. Actually, this computer might be a different one. I think this one, the one at home, is 2080. This one is a A5000. Performance is about the same though between the two. I've noticed the A5000 just has more RAM. Okay, what am I doing?
Apparently I clicked on something and it's trying to read my back plates, but I don't have any back plates, and now it's taking forever to respond. Josh, do you think we could do ZBrush to Unreal to Photoshop instance instead of, I think you mean, ZBrush to Keyshot to Photoshop for 3D character concept? Yes, absolutely. That's kind of what I want to play with in like one of my next projects, is sort of creating that and playing with that workflow. The thing that ZBrush or Keyshot has really great is all these drag and drop materials, but you can do that somewhat with the Megascans library already. So you would just need to know which ones you're downloading or importing into a scene. I've been thinking about the idea of being able to create, like you would do in many other scenes, a Unreal project that already has a lot of like the basic materials downloaded and imported and set up for it. So you could just import a model into that scene, and I think that could be a good starting point. So you, like here I have golds and leathers and cloths and stuff like that. If I had all that stuff already in an Unreal file, that could be a good starting point for you know, seeing how far this could go. Apparently, I hope this didn't lock up on me. I'll take a screenshot if it does. If it did.
Did you save?
I had saved before I'd like moved these other people around. Oh yeah, it definitely just crashed on me for sure.
No, that sucks.
Well, we have a screenshot, which is not what I wanted, but at all, actually. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can troubleshoot this. I'm gonna give you the screen.
Okay. I'm just retopologizing this rock. Duplicated it, Z-remesh it, divide it, project the details from the rock before it got retopologized. Now I'm doing the projection. I'll then delete the original and UV it. So now I've got a good topology on this guy. So I'm going to delete that one And now this one gets renamed. And then now he needs UVs because he doesn't have any. So for that, go to a UV master. And then UV master is there. Don't need symmetry, unwrap. And then test that it worked by throwing a texture on it. Looks good. And now this dude is ready to be exported. And you are pull rock left. So export. Pull rock left sdiv1. Okay, I need to grab the high frequency details. So I'm going to export that. Pull rock left sdiv5. Pro 4210. Yeah, got a couple synths, got a Nord and a OB6, which are really, really cool. The Nord has amazing piano sounds in it, and the OB6 is just awesome for 80s synth vibes, like we were listening to earlier.
Well, it crashed for good. I did get this screenshot out, though.
Oh, that's annoying.
So, but that's fine. I can paint on the screenshot.
Alex mentioned that it's hard to get a GPU. It is. I know.
Mhm.
Like I got a new GPU a couple months, like 3 months ago, and it took like 3 months to get it.
Yeah.
So that was part of why I got an A5000, was because the 3080s and 3090s were out of stock everywhere, but the Quadro ones were easier to get a hold of because they're a little more expensive.
Mhm.
So ultimately, that's why I got a Quadro.
Yeah.
And like a RTX Quadro. All right, so now over to Maya. So this dude is going to get replaced. From ZBrush, pull rock left, sdiv1. There it is. And then he needs to be smoothed. Freeze history. And now he can go to Unreal. Export selection as an FBX2. Data to Unreal. Oh wait, first I want to rename this dude so it doesn't have such a long name. Okay, that's going to data to Unreal. Pool rock left. And then Unreal.
Quadro versus 3080 Ti. Go.
Well, it's RAM. If you need the RAM, go Quadro. If you don't, don't, because they're a waste of money other than that. So that's really what you're paying for with the Quadros is the extra RAM, because you can get a Quadro card that has, 48 gigs of RAM, which if you want to have a huge amount of polys in Unreal with 8K textures everywhere, then that's when you're going to start using up more and more VRAM. So it kind of depends on your project. So if you're making a project for like delivery on Steam or console where it needs to work on computers that have lower end graphics, and that's when like why have a computer like that. But if you're doing personal work and you don't care and you just want to be able to render out animations from Unreal because you're just using Unreal for that, then that's where the more RAM the better, because if you're used to a VFX pipeline, then you kind of want to have lots of high-res models and lots of high-res textures, and so that's where I think the Quadros are cool, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, they're really expensive.
How much is a good amount of RAM? Well, there's your system RAM and your GPU RAM. So like this computer has 32 gigs of system RAM, and then in the A5000, I think that has 24 gigs of RAM on the card. While like a 2080 has like 11 gigs, I think. So I mean, you kind of know if you're working on a project, you can kind of tell if you're having RAM issues, Like system RAM, if you have lots of programs open at the same time and you want to have Maya and ZBrush and Unreal and Photoshop and all these things open and your computer starts to get sluggish, you might be running out of system RAM.
Mm-hmm.
And then the amount of textures that can be displayed in memory in Unreal is based on, your GPU RAM. So, but for system RAM, like everything's always like get what you can afford. All right, so now what rock am I going to make these look like? So like that one. ZBrush is pretty forgiving because it actually doesn't use your GPU RAM. It uses your system RAM. It's surprising, but that's the way ZBrush is built. So ZBrush tends to run pretty well on just about any computer, but you really should try to have at least, 32 gigs of RAM for ZBrush, since it's using your system RAM.
Yeah, it does pretty well. Shockingly well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Kildoran just talked about optimizations, and for sure, I mean, it's like it goes back to remembering that they made Jurassic Park on computers that had 256 megs of RAM on 33 megahertz computers, and it still looks pretty good. So, when forced to optimize, you can get away with a lot. It's just time consuming to optimize, and that's why, it's nice to be able to not.
Somebody was asking about if we offer financial aid. We do. You can find info on that on our website.
Yeah, there's federal financial aid and then private student loans that students get as well. And so the best thing to do is to talk to admissions, and then they'll help you determine what the best options are for you.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is still a very D&D playlist. I do like it though. I'm curious how the D&D movie's going to be.
D&D movie, a new one? I'm not
Yeah, a
familiar.
new one.
They made a movie called Dungeons and Dragons in the 90s.
Oh yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. It was questionable at best.
At best, yeah. Yeah, this one has Chris Pine in it, from what I remember. And somebody else that I can't remember. What's her name? What's her name? The girl from Thor Ragnarok. I can't remember that actress's name right now. Tessa Thompson, thank you. Yes, she's in it.
Did you see the new trailer for the Game of Thrones prequel?
I did. It looked cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that dude from the Doctor, what's his name? Matt Smith. He looks pretty good as a Targaryen.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just excited to kind of be like back in that world. I really like the Game of Thrones world. It's not a place I'd want to live, but you know, it's cool. I like the political part of it, the fantasy part of it. It's just like a cool. It's got a cool world that I want to be back in.
Oh, I agree.
Kate Blanchett. No, she's also in Thor Ragnarok, so good call.
Okay, high def, low def, picking options, DTT, phone it in, generate. Manohar, just completed my last term of FIAT a couple weeks ago, working on my final portfolio for the BFA. Is it okay to complete OC only using PS and photo textures because I'm still new to ZBrush? To complete an OC, what do you mean by OC?
I think that's original concept.
Oh. I would say so.
By only using Photoshop and textures. Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's awesome that you completed FIAD.
Mm-hmm. Congrats.
Okay, normal map generated. And now back to Mixer. Turn that off. Back to you. There we go. There we go. Normal map loaded.
Nice.
So funny with rocky stuff. It's like I look at this and it's like, this could be something small. It could also be a mountain range in the background.
Yeah, it could really be anything.
That's the other nice thing with sculpting a bunch of stuff for this project is all of those rocks and things like this that I've sculpted, I can now use in other projects.
Yeah.
I just need to organize them into an easy to access library.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though the whole kit bashing thing is cool, I just, I don't know, I like knowing that I sculpted some of it myself.
Sure. Makes sense.
Okay. I agree with what Cam just said. From my experience of applying 4 times. Yes, we want to see creativity. That's important. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you know, a portfolio that's just a bunch of still lifes, for example, like fruit bowls. It's like there's so many people that's their exposure to art in like high school. Like those are the kind of homework assignments they get from teachers. Because I got that kind of stuff in high school, which I didn't like because I thought it was
Yeah.
boring, but I had to do it. But it's definitely something that for Gnomon, you know, observational skills are really important. So like showing something like that or figure drawing for sure is important. But creativity, things out of your imagination, is such a big part of the industry we work in. You know, filling the gaps, but also using reference is a big one. So that's where observational skills are so important.
Any advice? Because you want to start some course for design. Any suggestions? What type of design do you want to do? There's character design, creature design, environment design.
Background design and landscaping. So you mean basically environment art. Well, for environment art, there's a lot. Are you interested in 2D or 3D? Because you said design.
Mhm.
But these days, so much design is done as a hybrid between blocking in 3D and paint overs in 2D. So I think that kind of like with character design, where it all starts with anatomy and figure drawing, with environment design, it starts with the same thing, going outside and observing nature and taking road trips and looking at national parks and all the things you can do to absorb all the shapes that exist in nature. And then also studying architecture and the history of architecture, going back to from Egypt all the way to Gothic architecture and cathedrals, all the way. It's like there's so much to study.
Mhm.
So I would balance your learning between nature and architecture and then getting into like the invented stuff. It's a very deep rabbit hole. How important is traditional art skill to succeed in the industry? That's a tough one.
Yeah, it depends.
I think that it used to be. I think these days 3D has become so user friendly that there's a lot of people out there that basically get started with 3D. And instead of learning how to draw, they're learning how to sculpt. They're learning tools like ZBrush instead of pencils. And
Mhm.
that's fine. If you look at really well-known sculptors like Jordu Shell, he primarily has always been 3D as opposed to drawing in 2D. But if you're interested in something like sculpting in ZBrush, then sculpting in ZBrush, sculpting in clay is the same part of your brain. Like if you can sculpt in ZBrush, you'd be surprised you'd probably be able to sculpt in clay.
Yeah.
So I would say I think it's important, but the level at which you are at is, as a 3D artist, is not the same as a professional 2D concept artist. So like I can draw, but I can't draw as well as a professional 2D concept artist at Blizzard, for example. Like not even remotely as good as somebody like that. But for communicating ideas, I think it's really valuable, even if it's just sketching.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. More as a communication tool in that point.
Yeah. I just realized I have not saved.
Yeah, good
Save
call.
rock left. Save.
What is it that you all are making? We are making. I'm making just a design image of a set of character creature aliens from
Yeah,
Keyshot that I
this is
sculpted in
looking cool.
ZBrush. Thanks.
I'm texturing a rock that I sculpted in ZBrush that is being textured in Mixer that is going to go in this environment that I'm working on in Unreal. So I've got this environment with a bunch of rocks that I've sculpted and textured in ZBrush, same way I've been doing today. And so this is the dude that I sculpted at the beginning of the stream, and I'm now almost done texturing it, and then I'll get the texture into Unreal. Yes, Adam, that is. I wish it said Adam instead of restream.io. Thank you, Marksman. Yeah, the environment's starting to come together. I started on the stream a while ago and just blocking it out in Maya, and then last weekend I got to play on it with it a little bit more, which was really fun. So, okay, what is this? This doesn't look right. This needs to be. I just realized that ZBrush put the seam right in the front of the model, so now I have to switch.
Oh, that's
things.
annoying.
I know. So now instead of using tiling, I have to switch it to box projection, which is fine.
It's fine, but it's maybe not what
It's
you
always
wanted.
It's always a little sharper when it's tiling,
Yeah.
but it still actually looks pretty good.
Do you ever have issues with the tiling where it's, like not sharp because you're not tiling it enough or you're tiling it too many times? That was the issue I found with it. Just because the sizes the meters are not super big. They're like 2x2 most of the time.
I haven't had too much of a problem with that, luckily. But that's, I think if you're texturing something huge, that might be more of an issue than texturing something small like this, because this is only like a 10-foot across rock thing.
Oh, yeah.
So those textures from Bridge are going to work a lot better for that size. Scanning comments. Cam asks, what do I think are the two of the most important courses at Gnomon? Demo Reel.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Is probably the most important class, which is only for full-time students, but Demo Reel is a class that I added to Gnomon, I think in like 2008-ish.
That would sound right. Yeah.
And when I added it, it was just in the last term, but having 3 months of Demo Reel still didn't feel like enough because it was already making such a difference in people's portfolios, and so then we added it to be the last 2 terms of the program. And so for people who don't know, Demo Reel is basically, Gnomon students take tons of classes, and so like if you're in the 2 or 3 or 4 year programs, you're talking about taking like 50, 60 classes. So you learn a lot of different things and are exposed to a lot of different techniques and workflows and tools. But for a lot of those classes, you're working on projects that are specific to that tool. So we had a demo reel so that at the end of the program, you can finally take kind of like everything that you've learned and focus that in on projects for your portfolio and for your reel. And once we added that class, what I found was that at graduation, people's reels ended up being like 90% work that they did in demo reel. And that anything that was done in terms like 1 through 6, or terms 1 through 9 for 4-year students were not in their reel, because by the time you get to the end, you're so much better than you were for the first couple of years.
Oh yeah.
So I think demo reel made a really, really positive uh, effect on student work.
Yeah, as you're learning stuff, there's always this point that you hit where it's like, it's probably faster for me to start a new project with all the stuff I've learned than it is to go back and fix all the things that I would want to on an existing project. And I think that's what demo reel really hit on perfectly, was like you could go through all your classes and kind of know your process of what you like or what you're going to do, but then it kind of gives you time to explore that and to finalize it and figure out your workflow. And uh, then you're able to just basically focus on a smaller select set of projects and just make those, rather than trying to tune up and polish things that you had been learning on, basically.
Yeah. Other than demo reel, you said 2 classes. That's
that
one.
is that is 2 sections, I guess.
Other than demo reel,
I
you
think
know,
that's going to
I don't
depend on
know
your area of study.
for sure.
Like if you're wanting to go into games, if you're wanting to go into film, if you want to be in effects, if you want to be a modeler, if you want to be an animator, I think that's really going to depend, because probably some of the more, you know, the higher level classes are going to be what I would pick, for if you want to be in modeling or if you want to be in any of those. It's, well, if you want to do animation, it's probably going to be animation 3 and 4, or character, creature animation, or depending on all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, so that's, I agree.
like if you want to be a character artist for games, character art for games is probably one of the most important classes you would take. You're in term 6 games track, and you still think Hard Surface 2 with Max is the most developing class you've taken so far. Yeah, that would make sense. It's kind of like an expansion of skills and learning how to make like really advanced level assets. So I think that's a great one.
It teaches everybody how to survive Max's
Mm-hmm.
eye.
Yeah.
A little Halloweeny,
I was gonna say we're getting lucky with the draw
getting
of the
getting some
playlist.
minor notes in there. All right, file, save. I think this is fine as a 2K texture setup. 2K export. Don't need any of that. Where are you going? Well, you are going to go to source images, pool rock left. Select folder, 2K texture, export. Yeah, that's what I hear and have heard since Max started teaching. All right, so that is that. So now those textures can come in here. It's so funny jumping between all these programs and the damn camera navigation
The
between all of
navigation,
them.
yeah. It's always different or like just different enough to where it's confusing. Where for like just a couple seconds you're like, what is happening?
Okay, Megascan preset, master material, create material instance, MI for pool rock left. Move you to there. Materials, move. Pool rock left, pool rock left. There you are. There you go. Double click. Load the textures from Mixer. Import. Don't crash. And it crashed. Sad.
Oh. What was it that crashed?
Unreal.
Oh, really?
I've found that 427 is definitely crashes a lot more than 426, but it could be because it was a .2 and 427 is a .0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they resolved a lot of the bugs.
But let's see.
Yeah,
Do
I
I have
hadn't
anything?
used 2.7.
Yeah, I figured I would switch to 2.7. Just why not? But yeah, I've had it crash because 426 during the fellowship kind of rarely
Mm-hmm.
crashed on me. I was really surprised.
Same. I got a handful of them. Not saying it never did, but it was never like a nuisance to me. Only when I was trying to render. That was when I started getting crashes or weird issues.
Yeah, that is true, Cam, with intro too. And Max is, an awesome teacher. And like you know, Josh and I do best of term,
Mm-hmm.
and we see stuff entered from intro to Maya
Yeah.
sometimes that's really, really impressive. So, having that intense class at the beginning of the program with Max, I think is a really, really good thing.
Yeah, it's a great pace setting class.
Okay, let's do this again. Right, please do not crash again. All right, first step, take the normal map and flip the green channel.
That's still one of my things that really bothers me about ZBrush.
Yeah,
I just don't know why. Why does it have to do that every time?
that's a normal map coming from Mixer. Normal maps from Mixer need to be flipped when you
As
bring them
well?
into Unreal. Yeah. Yeah, that took me a while to figure out. I was just like, something looks wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So whenever you import a normal map from Mixer, you want to go to flip green channel and check it.
Weird. Okay.
Super weird. One of my textures is not
Calvin
loading.
from Twitch says, I got a bit of an interesting question. When it does come to software at Gnomon, are all industry standards, or are there rare cases you cover others like Blender, etc.? You've been using industry software since you started all this and only been having to switch to Blender because of work. Any tips on switching software for work prep? I'd say the majority of them, if not all of them, are industry standard. I'm trying to think if there's one that's not.
No, I mean, everything is just based on tools that are used in the industry. And since all of the teachers are working, then all of the teachers are teaching tools based on what they're using at work. And there's over 100 tools installed on every workstation at Gnomon. So you're talking about a lot of different tools, because it's not just like the major things like Maya or Houdini. There's a lot of supplemental little tools like XNormal or IVGen or Magic Bullet or whatever that are installed on workstations. So, but ultimately, it's based on feedback from industry, instructors, advisory boards, studios, recruiters. There's a lot of people we communicate with, and so the tools that are taught are directly based on what studios are using and what studios need people to know. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So Blender is starting to be used. Being used more by concept artists at the moment, from what I'm seeing. Doesn't mean anything other than the fact that a lot of concept artists find programs like Maya to be too convoluted or have too many things in it that they don't need. Here for scale reference. So you're seeing it in concept, but like, for example, like I know Maya, so I have no need to use Blender. And if you go to a lot of studios like Weta or ILM or Blizzard or, they have pipelines that are based around tools. They have, proprietary things that plug into tools like Maya, Houdini, whatever. So it's not very easy to switch. But it's easy to integrate like standalone tools. Like it's easy to be like, all right, you want to model in Moi or Fusion, go ahead, because we're going to take your model into our, hub software anyway. It doesn't really matter where it came from. But
I think if there's any advice I'd have for learning new software is just jump into it and try to do a small project. I think like doing individual tutorials is fine, but if you force yourself to work on a small project where you'll learn it, and while learning it, you're going to encounter things about it that are good and bad. Like you're going to have to figure out workflow parts of it. That's better to me than just following a tutorial. The tutorials are great to get you along the way or to help you get to that step, but it's not going to kind of let you explore it in a way that's natural for you. So I would start a small project. And just kind of jump in. if you've learned a program before, you've probably learned multiple programs before, you can learn another one. And so many of them, unless they're completely different, like from Maya to Blender, I imagine wouldn't be incredibly hard because a lot of it's going to be the same, you know, methodologies or things that you'd be doing. It's just finding different ways to do it or what the program calls it, where the button is, what the hotkeys are to do it.
Lucky, no, this is Unreal 427. Not using 5 just yet. All right, let's see. These two. Can these two share a texture? All right, this is using about half of the UV space. Oh, that's not using much either.
That was like a fraction. Was that a UV master one?
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't have any
Yeah.
seams, so it's like
Yeah.
it's not, you know, it might be. There's no way I'm going to be able to get away with even a 4K map on that. I might have to cut it up or just use tileable textures on Unreal, which I haven't used yet in here, but I think I'm going to need to do just material blending.
Mm-hmm. Like vertex blending?
Yeah. So it's pretty easy since the Megascans plugin has that just right there, and you just select your 3 materials.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I just have to figure out how many materials this would be. I haven't tried that workflow yet, but I've been thinking about it where I can still texture it in Mixer just to figure out like which materials I want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could just use the masks that I made in Mixer in Unreal, but do the tiling in Unreal so that I get way more texture resolution.
Yeah, that you could do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that's the thing. I just haven't done it in Unreal yet because I've still just been texturing things as one-offs. I did it with those stairs and it worked well. Like, remember,
Right.
I made that big staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud is asking if I prefer 427 over 5. No, not at all. I just haven't used 5 because it's in beta. And I'm not the biggest fan of using beta software. I mean, obviously it's all over YouTube because that's a good way to get a lot of clicks on YouTube. And it's cool, but I just don't want to get in there and work on something and have it crash all the time. So I'll probably wait. Where are they at on 5 as far as 5 dot? Is it still 5.0?
I don't actually know. I haven't looked.
I'm going to launch and check. Yeah, see, it's still 5.0.0. That makes me nervous. Maybe when it's like 5.0.1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. They've spent a little more time on it. I did play around with it a little bit, and I liked the user interface, but I immediately encountered some unexpected bugs or things that I have to work around, so I shut that down pretty quick and started working back in 4.2.6. I hadn't opened 4.2.7 yet.
Anyway, from what I understand, 5 isn't even going to come out of beta until like spring or summer.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while.
All right, Lucky, thanks for swinging by. Have a
See you,
good
Lucky.
evening. I had a friend whose dog's name was Lucky, which I thought was a great name for a dog. Okay, so I am not going to texture these together. I'm going to do this as a one-off, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Ash Blossom is saying that some beginners struggle to do their first project because a lot of them try to do a huge project after doing something like the donut tutorial, and then they try to do a spaceship, which is obviously a very different scale of project.
For sure. I mean, I did that when I first got into 3D. I tried to
Yeah,
do something way too big and complicated, and I got
yeah,
a tiny fraction of it done in the end.
yeah. That
It was
sounds about
fun.
right
It
to
was
me.
fun. I still learned a lot. I just didn't finish the project.
Yeah, and then eventually you move on to another project, but or depending on who you are, like Ash is saying, if you get frustrated and you're like, this is too much, I can't do this. So I've definitely known some people who have quit because it just felt like it was too big.
Hmm.
So starting slow, I think, is important. Knowing that you'll eventually build up to bigger projects. It's just like learning anything else, especially anything else art related. You know, going
Mm-hmm.
straight to from drawing, simple cubes to drawing or painting a oil masterpiece is a big leap. Starting learning, the basic notes on a keyboard or a guitar, and then jumping straight into doing a full ensemble is different. So go up slowly.
Okay, so this is pulled right. Let's go to you don't need to be launched. Okay, so textured that dude. File, save. Change model. All right, so this is going to be a new mix. Because it doesn't have to be. To Unreal. Pool. Left. Oh.
Hmm.
Looks like I did do these objects together. That doesn't look bad. It's so nice with Mixer sometimes when you just import your model and you're like, yeah,
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I like
that's
that one.
not bad as a start.
Yeah, I like that when you're just like, oh, yes. When I was doing the fellowship, I think that's mostly how I picked my textures. Was like, which one is the best starting point? Which one looks pretty good as a starting point? I'll just go with that.
All right, that's 2K. If I make this 4K, can I get away with just texturing it in Mixer? Huh.
Yeah, starting in a small thing and then graduating up to big things is the way to do it. I remember some of my first projects that I learned 3D on was 3D Palace, which is an older site a long time ago,
Yeah.
with 3D Max, because that was what I learned with first. and they did some series where you were like making mechs and stuff from like Warhammer. Uh, but what I liked about them, looking back on it, is it was like let's start with the foot, and then you would build up to the like, as far as learning, you'd start with just like the pieces of the feet, and then eventually build your way up to the whole thing, which made it more accomplishable, I think, to do like a big project, kind of bite-sized, chunk by chunk like that, which I thought was fun. But just trying to tackle a big one, like somebody was saying, like just saying I'm doing a spaceship from the very beginning and just starting that can be daunting.
Oscar's asking, Mixer versus Substance versus Mari. They're all cool in their own ways, and they all have different strengths. So Mixer is awesome if you want this. So if you want a huge repository of photoscanned materials, of which there's like 10,000 of them that are free from Epic, from Quixel, where I can go in here and look for, rock cliffs and have all of these 8K textures that all have, albedo, normal displacement that can all be blended based on like height blending and all this stuff. So if you want to texture stuff with photographic textures that are photo scanned, Mixer is amazing because of this library. Substance is more of, Substance Painter is more of painting. If you want to paint textures and have more of like a painting environment, then Mixer's not really a painting environment. So I think that like 3D Coat and Substance Painter, are really popular for that. And Painter, it's got a lot of really cool tools. Substance Designer is awesome and amazing for procedural texturing. And then Mari is for super, super high-res UDIM-based texturing, where one model might need, 54K maps on one character, based on UDIMs, where you might end up having like, literally 10 gigs of textures on one model. That's where Mari really excels.
It also does. It does great with projection painting too.
Yeah.
Which Mixer isn't definitely not suited towards, and Substance can, but that's kind of the big one for Mari as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it really depends on. I accidentally clicked on something, and now I've got mossy rock.
It's cool looking.
It does look cool, but not what I need. Delete.
No.
So yeah, so for the environment I'm working on, like obviously, like this is just a big scene with a lot of rocks, so Mixer is like great. Although I mean, there's a lot of man-made materials in there though, in the Quixel library. Oh, your image is looking really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, just trying to get we got 20 minutes left, so I'm like, I gotta start dialing this thing in. that is a nice boulder. I watched that movie the other night.
So good.
It is good. It holds up really well, and it has. And, it's like one of those movies that is like, oh, it's for kids, but it definitely has like plenty of stuff for like an adult audience to watch.
Okay, I'm going to merge these into one object because life will be easier. Okay. Okie dokie. So save as.
Hmm.
So weird that there's only 15 minutes left.
It goes by so much faster.
That's like very odd.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so 4K, one texture. So now, let's see, you're single with a custom model, but you went and created that. That doesn't matter. Okay. So weird. There's something in the. Oh, it's there.
What's going on?
I've been trying to find in Mixer where you control the amount of tessellation it does when you click the preview displacement button.
Oh, okay.
And I just assumed it would be like in preferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that it had it because I was looking at it earlier today, that it did have a setting called tessellation in preferences.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not in preferences, it's in display. And I thought that would be under edit preferences display. And it's actually here. There's a display tab in the right where you can control rendering GPU tessellation.
Okay.
So that's where you can control the tessellation for displacements. Got it.
Interesting.
Got it. We need to figure out how to stream so that our webcams don't have to be so big.
Yeah. I mean, we can always do different things, but it doesn't work as well. We can't have two highlighted ones. You know, we could do this.
Yeah.
We can only pick one. There's a
Yeah,
half
but I
screen one.
I think people would probably rather just have one be big and just have it switch between the two, so they don't have to see our faces so big.
That's a good question for the chat.
I know. What do you guys think?
Do you prefer this, A, or B?
I prefer A.
A or A?
Well, that one.
This one.
Yeah. And then just switch between whether yours is big or mine is big. See?
Yeah. A.
Alex
A it
and
is.
Ash agree. It is A. Thank you, Alex and Ash, for agreeing to not have to look at my face so big. I think it's better for everybody.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to add to this thing.
See, that's something that, Adam could help with, where, so that, because if we're just zoning out on what we're doing, having to remember to like switch it from your screen to mine. I don't know if Adam would be up for just switching every few minutes. Well, I guess you and I can kind of do it too, because it's like I'm kind of letting you control. I guess I can kind of do it too, right?
Yeah, you can just drag and drop. Yeah, or that one.
Yeah. this one's probably. Oh, wait, which is the one you did? You did this one.
I did that one. That one we can use our overlay at the bottom and it doesn't cut off our heads. This thing.
Oh, right. That's cool. Yeah, see, that's
The
the
other
one.
one, this one, which will cut off our heads now, has the best or biggest picture quality.
Yeah, but it's getting cut off. I think this one is probably all right.
Yeah.
But then how do you switch it from being yours to being mine?
Just drag and drop in the software, whichever window.
What? That's so. Wouldn't have
Intuitive.
thought to click in there.
It's intuitive, but you don't expect it to be what you would need to do.
That's way too intuitive.
Yeah.
Now it's mine.
There you go. You watch a couple streamers that do a diagonal layout. They're live right now if you want to check them out. Interesting. A diagonal layout.
Yeah, if you give us the link, we'll check it
Yeah,
out.
post the links. We'll check them out.
All right, I'm going to look for some kind of ground tile, stone, not stone, yes, stone, castle. Ooh. See, this is why Mixer is so awesome.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Because I want
just
some
like-
kind of stone floor, and I look in here, and it's like, I want a man-made stone floor. Look at all of this man-made stone floor. Don't want one with leaves. There are a lot in this category. Stone
Yes.
floors.
Yes, there's so many in there.
There's 270 in here.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Castle floor stone. I don't know. That one. Cobblestone floor. Let's just try one and just see what happens. Oh, I gotta download it. No, I don't like that one. Maybe. Cool, thanks, Andy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, what I'm going to do first is get this back on. Can I put a mask stack on a group? I can.
I think you can, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so that will be stone. Then there'll be some kind of man-made something. underneath it. Stone floor. Yeah.
Oh, my camera turned off somehow. Did you turn my camera off?
I did not. It was, it
Some,
was Adam. Adam's like, you
oh,
don't
it
want to be
says,
seen anymore?
yeah. I probably was,
There.
maybe I was in the it looks like V is to disable it, so I was probably going to the move brush and just like somehow turned myself off. Where was Adam?
Or is Adam? Exactly. Alright, let's see what this one looks like. Downloading. I wonder what a diagonal look is.
Mm-hmm.
Although we wouldn't be able to do that in Restream. We'd probably have to use
You have
OBS
to
or
use
something.
OBS or something else, yeah.
Maybe that's like a custom layout in there. Local library. Kind of small. No, that is not the stone that I want.
What I used ZBrush, Keyshot, and then Photoshop for this image. And Alex is using what, Maya, ZBrush, Mixer.
Today I've used ZBrush and then Maya and then XNormal and then Unreal and then Mixer.
Nice. I think I'm calling mine done. We got 3 minutes left.
Awesome. I cannot say the same thing.
Well, yours is a much bigger scene.
Well, that looks really cool.
I did make the Drax move. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, not bad. I like Keyshot. This is why I like Keyshot, is because it can get a nice quick render. even though I did crash, and I had to basically do this from a screenshot, which I feel okay about, but kind of forced it to be more painterly. Definitely areas I'd want to fix, but not bad for 2 hours getting it out of Keyshot and ZBrush and all that. And then this is the sculpt that I had started from, if people were curious.
Yeah, that's a very cool sculpt.
The back. There is no back.
Just looks like some alien insect.
It's a beetle, I think. I think that was what the inspiration for this was some sort of a beetle.
Yeah. Some kind of overlord.
Yeah. How's yours going? Ooh, I like that texture on the ground.
Yeah, trying to pick what kind of sort of stony, man-made kind of texture will be on the floor. I'll have to blend a few of them together. So I got to figure out if there's a good way to control the rotation. There we go. So, but yeah, I mean, I got this texture there. Then I have to put a different texture on the side. That's like in here. And then eventually this dude will end up back in here. So that's what I'm working on, is this little area. And then hopefully before next week, I'll probably have all the ground done. Hopefully have the water in here. And then start set dressing with the foliage tools and all that stuff.
Yeah, I want to see that. I'm curious about how you did all the foliage. I didn't get to use it last time.
Yeah, I mean, my intent is that this is going to end up having plants and trees and stuff in it, because I want to play with all that stuff too. So I'm just going to use this project as an excuse to just add a lot of stuff. And then, I think I'm going to put some areas in here, like little platform areas where I could have statues. And so then that gives me an excuse to do some ZBrush sculpts of some statues that can be in here. And
yeah.
So that's kind of the intent.
Nice.
And there you go.
I realize I want to fix one thing. I just want to get these. Apparently, I cut this out poorly, so I'm going to trim this section out. It's actually, it is 6. We
run around.
Time's up.
It's 6 o'clock. So he's just jumping around.
That's awesome.
Well, cool. Well, it was fun. I like the new time zone. So
yeah, I do too.
So thank you for being up for that. Thank you, Adam, for being up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, everybody. Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us on Art Jam. We have a super cool event tomorrow. We have our instructor highlight with Dane Smith talking about virtual production.
That's tomorrow.
So go check that out.
Really
I think it's over here on our Eventbrite.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in Unreal and virtual production, this should be a cool event. And it's free, and it's here.
Yep. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. from 11 to 12:30 on whatever channel you're watching now. You can check that out. So come say hey to Dane Smith. He's got an amazing background and been doing some really cool stuff on LED walls, virtual production on Mandalorian and the Suicide Squad, and a bunch of other things. So check that out for sure.
Very cool.
Cool. All right, y'all. Well, have a wonderful day and rest of your week, and we will see you all back here next week.
Awesome.
Bye.